Well, this Friday is going to be a very important day here, I am sure, for a lot of political figures out there in this country because of the jobs report coming out. And I did want to say, before I began with what I was going to talk about, that I will be using that day's job report, and hopefully by then I will actually officially start with the first of 3 installments of my jobs videos I'm going to be talking about and how to create jobs. I think obviously the economy and job creation is a big part of the Occupy Wall Street movement going on around the country currently right now. So I'll try to use that Friday to start out with one of 3 installments. I was going to begin probably with the report and look at some of the issues right now that I think are impeding the creation of jobs, and I'll talk about my ideas to create jobs, and I'll talk about items that or areas of the market where a lot of jobs could stand to be created, and different things we can do that create different types of jobs. So I think that that's a very important aspect too. I mean, I want to have ideas about what kinds of jobs can be created other than just saying, well, we're going to create jobs, and even though they're only working at McDonald's or working at the grocery store or working somewhere like that. I mean, we need real jobs, and that's actually what that 3rd video talks about. But I'll have that I'll try to start that at the end of the week because, like I said, this Friday we're going to have October's jobs report out, and there is some, I mean, like I said, there are some encouraging signs for this country because GDP grew at 2.5%, which is about double from last quarter. However, at the same time, it's still not going to be good enough, I would guess, and there's still a long way to go. And of course, politically speaking, that's definitely if you're playing the game of politics, I'm sure one side's rooting for it, the other side is not rooting for it to happen. So anyway, I'm going to get to the part that I was going to talk about here in this video, and that is going to be on the issue of taxes. Now, it has become a bigger debate now that we have plans now from Perry and Herman Cain, who both released a tax plan not too long ago. And both plans are definitely, basically, really scrapping the current system we have now, which does have a lot of problems, don't get me wrong. And it replaces it with something totally different and totally sweeping in terms of nature. So we're going to get to both of those, and then I'll get into my thoughts about them. Now, first off, you have the Herman Cain plan, which is the 999 tax plan. Now, basically what that will do is it is going to tax everyone, regardless of income, at 9% for their income tax. Then it's going to tax everyone at 9% for sales tax. So whatever you buy, 9% federal sales tax. 9% across the board. Again, don't matter what your income is. Then you have 9% tax on business regardless of how big or small the business is. That is this 999 plan. Okay, so that's what it is, and it's pretty simple. I will grant him that, and I also will give him some credit when it comes to reforming the tax code, because this probably would take the loopholes and garbage out of the tax code. However, there are problems with it, and it has a lot in common with Rick Perry's plan, which we will get to in a minute. And that is a big problem I got with it, which is why I do not support it in its current form. Now, the right wing didn't like it. It came under a lot of scrutiny. So Herman Cain revised it and currently now calls it the 909 plan. So it keeps the 9% income tax, I think. I think it keeps the income part gets rid of this, actually it keeps the sales part, gets rid of the income part for poor people, and then it imposes 9% taxes across the board on business. Again, business, I think with the loopholes factored in, a lot of businesses probably pay about 50, I think I hear 15%. Of course, there are some like Exxon and GE that pay nothing in taxes, so Herman Cain's plan would actually be an improvement to get at least these corporate hacks to at least pay something when it comes to taxes. 9%, obviously. They're nowhere to run, nowhere to hide when it comes to loopholes. So like I said, I mean, it does have some good component. I mean, I'm not going to knock it all away like some on my side of the aisle are going to do. But at the same time, like I said, I have a big problem with it, and I'll get to that problem with it here in a minute, because it has a lot in common with Rick Perry's plan. Now, Rick Perry's plan is basically a flat tax of 20%. Now there's a sub problem that I have with this plan, and I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, on merit, his plan is a 20% flat tax plan. Now, basically, what that means is, regardless of your income, regardless if you make $10,000, $100,000, or $1 million or $1 billion a year, you still will pay 20% in taxes, income taxes. That's what the flat tax is. So regardless of what your income is, you all pay the same rate, 20%. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, rate. Okay, so however, and this is my sub problem with this, Rick Perry then comes out and says, if you don't like the flat tax plan, you can opt out of it, because of course the scrutiny was going to come, and it's going to come from me anyway, because I think that what he said there was a bunch of bullshit. But still, at any rate, he knew this criticism was going to come. So he said that if you don't like the if you don't like his flat tax plan, you can opt out of it and go to this current tax system we have now. Now, he was afraid, of course, of what I am going to say in this video, and what others were going to say, which is that he wants to tax the poor in this plan, and he wants to raise income taxes on poor people by 20%. And that's basically what he wants to do, because poor people, when it all comes down to it, when it comes to income taxes, they don't pay pretty much anything because of tax credits and different stuff like that. However, if he had his way and he gets a flat tax, the poor will have to pay 20%. So that is raising taxes on poor people, and that's basically my problem with the plan. But my sub-problem with the plan is that he's trying to hide and duck and escape or try to dodge criticism of his flat tax plan by saying that if you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to go into it. So basically what he's saying is, I want a flat tax, but if you don't want it, that's fine, which basically defeats my whole purpose of imposing a flat tax. Now, first of all, if you want a flat tax, and this is just my opinion, if you want a flat tax, then just say, I want a flat tax. Okay, and then debate the merits. Don't dodge don't dodge and try to spin and try to grease and butter up your tax plan because when on the merits, it defeats the whole purpose. Okay, I mean, this defeats the whole purpose. You want a flat tax, but then you allow people to opt out of your flat tax. So then it's not a flat tax because no one's going to opt into it unless they really, really want to opt into it. And at any rate, you're not going to get every single American to opt into this flat tax. So isn't that a loophole, which he claims he's going to get rid of in his flat tax plan? That's a loophole. Because if I'm working somewhere, say I'm making $40,000 a year, but I don't want to pay 20% taxes, well, I have a loophole in his plan because I can opt out of his plan and pay the current rate of this current tax system now. So Rick Perry is just, in my opinion, full of shit. And anyone who believes a damn word he says is probably the most gullible person out there, because I mean, do you really honestly believe that he means it when he says that you can opt out of his flat tax plan? I don't. I think it's clear what this guy wants. He wants to tax the poor, tax the people who work in the factories, tax the working class, tax the people who have to make daily decisions about their everyday lives and whether or not to put food, whether or not to buy bread or milk or put gas in their tank. And he wants to tax them more, and he wants to raise their taxes. And then he's such a goddamn coward that he hides behind that, and he tries to butter up his plan and say, well, you can opt out of this flat tax if you don't like it. I mean, what kind of shit is that? I mean, does anyone honestly believe that he would allow people to opt out of his flat tax plan? And do you honestly believe that he would create a loophole when he says he wants to get rid of loopholes in his flat tax plan? I mean, this guy is just insane, and I can't believe any person out there actually likes this lunatic. I mean, it's just honest. He should just say flat out that that's his goal, is to tax the poor. And that's Herman Cain's goal, is to tax the poor. They want to tax the poor. Now, to Herman Cain's credit, he did get rid of the income tax for poor people, so I give him a little bit of credit for wising up there. And I actually do believe Herman Cain there. In a way, although, again, in a way, he'll be creating a loophole again for poor people to get out of his, whatever you call it. I mean, here's the thing with Herman Cain, though, is you can't really call it a flat tax because he still has a sales tax, which is a fair tax, and then you have a flat tax rate, and then you have a flat tax rate for business. So you have a fair and flat all convoluted into one tax. That's basically what Herman Cain's plan is. It's very, very complicated, and I don't even know all of the tax law in this country, but on the merits, he still would tax the poor more. He would at least tax them by 9% more, and he would tax the poor for buying bread, milk, and other products, and then he comes around with his out-of-touch statement saying, well, you can buy used goods, like you can buy used milk and buy used bread, and somehow you're not going to get taxed on it. I mean, what in the hell is he talking about? I mean, God, what is wrong with these people that want to vote for these people? And then Rick Perry, I mean, really, I mean, his plan stinks so bad, and he is getting his ass kissed by the mainstream, you know, that right-wing media we talk about. I mean, the media is kissing his ass over this tax plan, saying how wonderful it is and everything, when really the plan would tax the poor, and then he tries to dodge that issue and tries to butter up his tax plan by somehow saying that he wouldn't tax the poor because he would create this big ass loophole for everyone that don't like his flat tax plan to get out of his flat tax plan, which defeats his purpose of a flat tax plan. I mean, it is just insane, and people are drinking Rick Perry's Kool-Aid on this issue, and it is just really frustrating to me that I got to listen to this nonsense from the mainstream media. I cannot believe that these people are actually doing that. But there you go. But guess what? I'm unmasking them for what they are. What the Republicans want to do, and yes, I mean, I'm critical of both parties. I'm critical of the Republicans and the Democrats. Okay, I used to be Democrat, but I'm not Democrat anymore. I voted for Barack Obama back there, but right now I would not vote for him again. But this is a partisan issue because the Republicans and some well, maybe it's not a partisan issue because you have some blue dog losers that'll probably get on board with this too, saying how great these plans are. But mostly it is a Republican platform, and it's a platform to tax the poor. That's what they want to do. The Republican tax plan is to tax the poor, and I am happy that Rick Perry and Herman Cain came out there with that, and I really hope if the Democrats had any brains in them whatsoever, they will get the super PACs out, they will get their campaigns out, they will raise money, and they will run ads in every single goddamn district of every single Republican out there that supports these ludicrous plans and say that they want to tax the poor because that is what they want to do. But anyway, that's my rant for this week. Like I said, we are talking jobs when it comes to this Friday. I will have my first installment out, which is the problems. I'll relate it to the new jobs report, but I will get into the issues that I think are causing this problem. I will then talk about how to fix them in a second video to be later. And then finally, types of jobs that can be created in this economy, which will even be later than that. But anyway, that is it for me for now. I will try to have more videos on a more frequent basis. If you know anyone who's liberal that would like hearing what I have to say, spread the word out about this channel. I would appreciate that. This is the sub-channel to Pittsburgh Sean, which is basically the comedy, sports, everything, various channels. So check both of my channels out, Pittsburgh Sean and this one. But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone.